Look, church shape is not a myth. Being in church shape is very, very real. And pretty soon, we're going to have to be in tip-top church shape because these doors are going to open.
Yeah,
okay?
they are.
And students are going to be in here,
Yes.
and volunteers. We're going to have packed rooms, and we're going to have fun. The music's going to be loud. We're going to talk about Jesus.
Cannot
We're going to
wait.
have incredible
right.
Wednesday and
Yep.
Sunday nights.
But right now,
But yeah, if that had to happen like in 2 days, we'd be in trouble. We've got some work to do.
so what do
Yeah.
we need to do?
Yeah. Well, we got to get the check-in process ironed
Right,
out.
right.
It's been a minute since you did that.
Yes, and now you add masks, and it's
Yeah.
just going to add a whole new level of difficulty.
Morgan.
Got you.
Nehemiah.
Gotcha.
Howard.
Oh,
Dave Delaware.
Dave Delaware.
Nathaniel Hawthorne.
Harry Henderson.
My skills at Gaga Ball are not smooth. The 56ers have been destroying me every time. It's really embarrassing.
But
I can help you train for that.
Your attitude, though, has been...
Okay.
Do not hold back
Do you know
at
me?
all. Oh, okay, that was a little. Okay, all right, it's okay. Oh! Yeah, come on. Okay, hold on. That last one hurt a little bit. Maybe if I just stretch my back. Okay. What did you just... Oh!
Speaking wise,
Yeah.
you've been doing this in front of a camera.
I know. It's
for
been
about 7
really
months
just
now.
like the two of you and then maybe a handful of other people. So, like, I got to get my warm-up back.
Yep.
Just get my...
warm-ups, get your laps in, get
Get
your
my,
reps.
yeah, just gotta get loose. Gotta come up and then calm down. Ooh. Yeah. Up and down. Up and down. Too low.
Yes.
Is this too high?
Yep. Okay, that's a little too
I'm gonna need that one. No, we got.
back in shape.
It'll come back. It'll just come back around. Guys, we're fine. We're fine. I'm not nervous.
We'll figure it out.
We'll work on it.
But we got to work on it, so we need to do that.
We'll
Let's
work
do
on
it.
it.
Let's go. You know what? Let's go right now.
train.
Yeah, okay.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Friends, we are here today to participate in what has been dubbed the Dare the Rainbow Challenge. We have Chana and we have Katie, who may now have regrettably agreed to do this, and yet their servant hearts are still here. As they are going to open their bag of Skittles, and one by one, we are going to see. It's basically Skittle roulette.
It's like who gets played first.
It's basically who gets played. You would think they would make them like a different color. So
They
we
don't
could
give
just-
you any idea of what flavor, like am I about to get dirty socks?
Oh, just rotten zombie. I mean, whatever rotten zombie it means to you.
Can smell it.
So you guys can either do the same color,
They smell like Skittles.
smell like Skittles. It's
do
real
smell like
unfortunate.
Skittles.
Unfortunate. Okay. Y'all are
Okay.
good women.
You
Go
ready?
back and forth. All right,
Okay,
green.
go.
Mummified melon is my guess.
It's
Yeah,
good.
definitely.
Good? All right. Good.
Tasty.
One down.
All right.
I'm not
I taste
sure.
nothing.
I either don't like that. It's not good.
So we think
I
that's
think
that's rotten zombie.
That's kind of just a weird flavor.
Okay, well then let's move
I don't
on.
know
Let's
if it
just- if it
tasted
tasted weird
rotten.
to both of you, then I'm gonna guess it's just a weird flavor. Purple. When they go for the water.
ooh, that's my favorite one so far.
That one's kind of jazzy. I'm not gonna lie. I want another purple one.
Like, how bad did they make it?
I have no idea. Because let me tell you.
You guys didn't try this first?
Are you kidding me?
Okay. Okay.
Okay, that one tasted like the red one.
Oh,
That was gross. That tastes like cheese.
Oh,
Like gas station nacho cheese.
I can smell like.
That was a zombie Skittle.
Huh.
But was it terrible?
I've had worse.
So, because Katie and Shanna have incredible poker faces and have apparently just dealt with a lot in their lives, they were professionals at the Dare the Rainbow Challenge. So we have brought in our own Joshua Stuckey, who has graciously agreed to participate to get a real reaction because we know he does not have a poker face.
All right, we're gonna go green this time.
Okay, do all the green.
We're gonna do a green.
I'm just kidding.
Oh, that's not one. I need water.
Cheers.
Thank you, dude.
I don't like that. I don't like that at all. All right. Oh.
Do it. Return to
Oh my God.
That's the one.
It's like a feet smell.
Yeah.
When you walk into a house that just smells of rotten feet, that's what I'm tasting right now.
Like teenage boys' room.
Yeah.
your college apartment.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I think we'll end on that one. So, that is the Dare the Rainbow Challenge, and if you want to do it, we totally dare you. But we would now like to thank Chana and Katie, who were clearly much better at this game than Joshua.
Good job, guys. Dare the rainbow.
If you want to do it,
Taste the rainbow.
go for it. We dare you.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So,
Hey, what is up? Welcome back. We are in part 2 of our series called True Story, where each week we're going to talk about two things. We're going to talk about who we are, we're going to talk about who God is. And we're using some true stories from the Bible and also some true stories from movies you've probably heard of. So this week, hey, I'm going to give you our theme right up front, and then we're going to kind of work through that. But this week we're going to talk about because of who God is, we can embrace the unknown. Now, if you're the type that likes to work ahead, you know that I'm going to reference a very popular movie. And now you also know that our theme is embracing the unknown, so you're probably expecting, no, actually, we're going to talk about a movie that I think is just as good and a little bit more fun, Up. Okay, so look, if you haven't heard of Up or if you haven't seen it, number one, you should. Come on. But so I'm gonna have to spoil the first 15 minutes. There's a ton of movie after that. But look, we meet this kid named Carl, and he is cute as a button. And then Carl is looking for adventure in everything that he does. And then he meets this girl named Ellie. And Ellie is also this kindred soul who's also looking for adventure. And the two, as children, fall in love. Oh yeah. We see this beautiful story of Carl and Ellie, but then we see the tragic loss of Ellie as well. And all of a sudden, Carl, this cute, now old man, is all alone. And I tell you what, the first time I watched this movie, and actually multiple times after that, I cried. I mean, it is that sweet because you just love him so much. And then you also just relate to the loss of a loved one. And then you're just left wondering, what is Carl's adventure going to be now? Because up to this point, his whole life, even since he was a child, has been tied to Ellie, who's been a partner and a friend and a wife and all of these other roles. These two have been together. They've been doing life together for so long that you wonder, what is Carl going to do now? Today we're going to look at a story in the Bible that is very similar to that. We're going to meet two women, and it starts in Ruth chapter 1, verses 1 through 22. I'm just going to summarize real quick. We meet a woman named Naomi. She is married to a man named Elimelech. I nailed that, by the way. So they have two sons, and then they move from Bethlehem to, Naomi's hometown is Bethlehem, but then they move to a foreign country. That family, they are believers and followers of God, but the country that they go to, not so much. Shortly after they move, Elimelech passes away, but the two sons marry daughters, so now there are 5 of them. That lasts for about 10 years, and then both of the sons pass away. So now we've got Naomi and her 2 daughters-in-laws all alone. They're widows in a foreign country that's basically godless. and they're wondering, what do we do now? Naomi decides she's going to return to Bethlehem, and she actually encourages her daughters-in-law to go to their homelands as well. There's a lot of weeping and talking, and I don't want to go, I don't want to leave you, but she insists that they go back to their homelands. The other one, I believe her name is Orpah, decides to go home. But Ruth says, I'm not going to leave you. Where you go, I will go. Where you stay, I stay. Where you call home, I will call home. And the God that you serve, I will serve as well. Ruth binds herself to Naomi because they're in this. They've done life together. Ruth has watched Naomi for 10 years and is just like, whatever you're going to do, I want to do that as well. So the two of them return back to Bethlehem. And that's how the book of Ruth begins. Now, if we stop right there, there are a few surprising things in this. That number one, we meet a character in the Bible, in Naomi, that doesn't have it all figured out. Sometimes we read the Bible and we just assume that every story we read, that person's going to just have this blind trust and faith in God. But actually, when we meet, part of Naomi's story is confusion and grief and anger and loss and sadness and all of these negative emotions to where she doesn't know what to do, so she's just going to move back home. And then we can also find a surprise in Ruth in that she lived in basically a godless country, but fell in love with a boy, and his mother, Naomi, was such a follower of God that Ruth, did not know God, but just watched and observed and lived among Naomi for so long that she was moved to serve the same God as Naomi. There are some surprising elements to this story if we just continue to read it. And then look, we're not going to read all of the book of Ruth, but we're going to jump to chapter 4 because Ruth is only 4 chapters long. And when we go down to verses 13 through 17, we see that while they've moved and started this new life, that Ruth actually gave birth to a son and then gave that son to Naomi. Now look, nothing can replace the loss of a husband and 2 sons. But through this story, God begins to restore Naomi's family. So Naomi trusts in God the whole time, and then we see by the end of the book of Ruth, that Naomi's family is beginning to be restored. What's so cool about that is Obed, who's now Naomi's son, was Jesse's father, and Jesse was David's father, and David would go on to be king of Israel, and then many generations after David was Jesus. So we've got 2 incredible stories going on of 2 women who were incredibly vulnerable widows in a foreign land that chose to follow God. Naomi's family was restored, and Ruth actually became a direct descendant of Jesus. Here are some other things that we can learn from this story. It shows us that God isn't afraid of our doubts, questions, or emotions. God meets our needs. God is a redeemer. God knows our future. God has a plan. God is in control. And just like part 1 of this series, if we sum all of this up, we could say that from this story, we know that God is good. Whether you are in a situation like Carl or Naomi or Ruth or whatever uncertainty you face, when we begin to trust and put our faith in a good God, we can actually embrace the unknown. The thing I think I love most about Carl was his nonstop thirst for adventure. Even as a child, you see that he just wanted to have an adventure. He wanted life to be an adventure. And actually, he saw that in the unknown as not being like stopping him or a stumbling block, but actually as an opportunity, an invitation, if you will. See, if we looked at the unknown instead of being this scary place where only death and darkness live, but we can look at that and trust in who God is and know that, actually uncertainty, that might be an invitation into something greater. Not knowing what's ahead of me could be an invitation into an adventure or a calling or something that only God can imagine for me. I believe that when we have tough times, now look, it's so much easier to say, hey, if you have tough times, just trust that God's got a plan. It's way easy to say that. It's way tougher to live that. But if we stop and remember that God is good, we put our trust in Him, we can embrace the unknown. And we can know that, man, maybe even every little thing is going to be all right. When we trust in who God is, we can embrace the unknown.
Your favor waits within the future. My dreams are small compared to yours. Or should I worry about tomorrow when I know all I gotta do is trust you, Lord. Every little thing's gonna be alright. Every little thing's gonna be just fine. Whether I can see it now, I know you will work it out for good. Yeah, every little thing, everything will be alright. Behind the scenes and in the details, you planned the perfect way for me. Why would I dwell upon the road's uncertainties when all I gotta do is look to you? Yeah, all I gotta do is look to you. Yeah, every little thing's gonna be alright. Yeah, every little thing's gonna be just fine. Whether I can see it now, I know you will work it out for good. Yeah, every little thing, everything will be alright. Yeah, yeah, everything will be alright. Whether I can see it now, I know you will work it out for good. Yeah, every little thing, everything will be alright.
Hey, two things before we go. You were created by God who is good, and your future is known by your Creator. And when we begin to trust in who God is, and He's definitely both of those things, then, hey, we begin to embrace the unknown. Until we meet again, be well.